body, mind, and soul in the upright position. We hope you enjoyed the ride.
Welcome to WAYSPACE. This is it. Here we are. Let's be here now. Hello. What is up? It is the second episode of season 2, the second episode of the year, and the second episode of 2022, which is also the year. So we're already starting with some redundancy. That's all right. How are you? It's been a couple weeks. My ideal is to do a podcast every week, but it's like a soft ideal. That being said, though, you know, if there's a lot of demand, I'll make sure to get to it. It's just some weeks I just, you know, I'm still warming up. I'm getting used to it. I'm getting the feelings right. But I really like this new format. So I think I will be doing, you know, certainly a lot more podcasts than I was doing in the last few months of the last year. So yeah, just thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you being here, lending your ears and all that good stuff. So let's see, what should we add in here for this intro here? I am still working on all these projects I've got, still working on my first NFT. I realized it's one of those things, right, where, you know, I've talked about this before probably, or at least mentioned times, you know, like the saying or the value in Taoism about, and many things, not just sort of a Taoist perspective, but many things in which, you know, it's about like, you know, keep your stuff that's you're working on to yourself and just show people the results, you know. And I feel that a bit with the NFT. That being said, though, this is sort of like a peek behind the curtain, you know? So it's not like I'm going around on Twitter and whatever, Instagram, and saying, oh, this is coming out oh, yeah, it's coming out 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, coming out 1 week. And like, you know, putting release dates and telling people it's coming. It's more like, you know, if you're just here with me, I'm just telling you this is what I'm working on, you know? Because I feel like it's worth mentioning to people who care. But that being said, I also think that there's value in me, like, hunkering down and not talking so much about it and really just doing it. But that being said, it's coming. It's going to be great. I'm really excited for it. I'm more than halfway done now. And my goal, I think, as of right now, is to do a 2/2/2/2 release. So February 2nd of this year. That's my plan. That's my goal. That's what I'm aiming toward. As far as how long I have between now and then, that would be enough time for me to finish it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna work on it, and yeah, so it should be good. All right, what else? I've been pretty consistent. I had this, so I can't remember if I mentioned it last episode, but I've been pretty consistent with sort of like my practices, which I think is an interesting resurgence of like my spiritual practice, in that I'm sort of a bit more grounded in it. Like I'm a little less like I've got to do this and like running away from myself. I'm a little more like, all right, let me just do these practices from within myself as opposed to trying to be something else, you know, like, and I think it's great to aspire to things, but with myself as my compass and inner guide. And so, you know, I think about things like how meditation, I've come to really enjoy sitting meditation, but to appreciate that there are many kinds of meditation, and that meditation is more about the experience or the feeling or the lack of feeling or lack of experience or whatever, you know, one's merging with awareness or allowing oneself to sort of let go and absorb the awareness, like that kind of meditation, like that as meditation or meditation as that, can be in so many forms. And I think it's only right, only natural to accept that there might be forms in which I'm even more attuned or just as attuned. Like going for a walk outside is just as valuable as sitting meditation. that kind of thing. So appreciating that. So I've been working on that. But I have this little planner where I give myself stickers for doing the practices. So it makes it kind of fun and gives it this nostalgic feel of like when I get stickers on my work in school or whatever when I was little. So yeah, so that's been going pretty well. I definitely encourage you, if you're working on getting into any kind of small habit, big habit, whatever practice of any kind, to reward yourself in some small way that is sort of like, not a big deal, like it's not a huge thing, but it's like kind of nice. And then you can look back at it and you're like, wow, this is kind of a nice thing I made looking at all these stickers here or whatever, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so it's been cool. Definitely feeling a lot of anxiety related to COVID stuff, and it kind of just spreads out. It's like you're one situation just happens to kind of turn things up within your awareness, and you get anxious and you get a lot of thoughts pouring in, like a part of the dam just broke and it's just pouring through, and it can be a lot to take, I think, especially once maybe that situation subsides or resolves or whatever, but the anxious state, like you're still in the anxious state, and it's like it's like just because the situation changes, it's really about the state that you're in. So it's like I let the situation changed over time, but the state I was in was still simmering and still kind of bubbling around me. And so it was like other areas of my life I started to feel extra anxious, and it's so tough when that happens, and it's so yay. But it's been getting better the last few days, and it's one of those things where it's like maybe that's why I didn't do the podcast last week, because I was just basically struggling, but not always struggling, and most of the time the struggling leads to some helpful wisdom and insights. I know it has for me, so we're all good here. All right, well, I hope that you're doing well. Thanks again for hanging out, checking out the podcast. I've been thinking about maybe changing or making new music and making it where it's like a shorter intro, and then maybe like the outro stays the same, but I kind of like remix this intro so it's a little bit more of like music just starts, and then like 6 seconds in I start talking over the music, because I've heard podcasters doing that lately, and I feel like it's kind of cool. So we'll see how that goes. And then maybe after the intro, I'll play music, like play some more music. So it's a little more separated, a little more interesting, but still has that off the cuff, freestyling type of feel to it. So, all right. Well, how about we get into these 3 questions here that we're going to do. I don't know what I'm going to title this episode. That's another cool thing about this, is I do it based on whatever piques my interest in the questions that I answer or that are asked. So yeah. All right. So let's see. What category should we do? I think I'm going to do a self-awareness question. All right. Let's see. Oh boy. What would you refuse to give up even if you were offered $10 million? What would you refuse to give up even if you were offered $10 million? Oh, fuck. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't give up my relationships. I would not give up my relationships, because money is a measurement of something, and relationships are actual experiences. Money is not an experience. Money is a measurement tool like inches. So, it's just there are, if I was asked to give something up that isn't a measurement thing or isn't some, oh man, that is quite something. I would not give up any of my beloved close relationships. And yeah, and that includes, I think, my relationship to myself. Like if I was offered an opportunity to make $10 million in a short period of time or something like that, and it really made it so that I could tell, like maybe I try it out, and I see what it's like, and I try it out, and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose all my relationships. I'm going to lose my relationship to myself, my sense of, care for myself and everything. I don't think that's worth it. I mean, maybe if it's like a sprint, like, okay, you get $10 million and you just have to like cut yourself off from everybody for a week, get this done, whatever it is I have to get done. And then, and I can't, I don't have any time for meditation or barely time to shower or whatever, like, then I could imagine that being possible, because then I could go back and then it's fine. And then it's just more like this boot camp type thing. But as far as like giving something up forever or for a really long time where it really has an impact on my future and my life, that's too much. That's too much. Yeah, that's too much. But I mean, hey, there are a lot of things I'd do for $10 million. There are a lot of things I would give up for $10 million. Like if I had to give up, I don't know, like, something like a hobby or something that I like, but I don't necessarily have to do or something, that would be cool. But I don't think I would give up music for $10 million. Like give up the right or the ability to create music or create art. I could not give that up for $10 million. Or better yet, I'll find a loophole so that I get the $10 million and I can get out of being like stripped of my creative ability or freedom or desire. That's actually interesting. I imagine there are people that have given up their creative capacities, or at least given up some aspect of their creative capacities or some capacity of their creative capacities in order to get $10 million. It just is over a longer period of time, and they choose a particular path. They make a lot of money. They make $10 million, and they have a drastically stagnant and scarce creative outlet and experience in life. So yeah, not going to do that. All right. That's pretty good. That was a pretty good question. All right, let's do the next question. Number two. This is... Oh, I've gotten this one before. Okay. I want to do something new. How do I get the same one again? There are 150 cards here. Okay. What's something you're sure you'd never do, but secretly wish you had the guts? I've gotten this one before too, but I'm just gonna say what my answer was at the time. So my answer to this. So what would I do if I had the courage, but I don't have the guts? Or what would I do if I had the courage, but right now I don't? I think I would do what I've heard that people like Benny Blanco have done as far as advancing their careers. I would do things that would be like incredibly elegant sort of in approach, as far as like getting myself in the door to know the right people to do the things that are needed for my career to really launch it into some place. Which, I heard apparently there are stories of that he's told or something of, as a producer, as like an up and coming or relatively unknown producer or songwriter, going to like New York offices and headquarters of labels and whoever else, and just getting in the door by any means necessary. Like I'm not sure exactly what he did, but maybe like pretending to be giving a delivery or saying, I have a meeting with this person, can you let me up? And they turn around and he just goes up, like all these things to just get himself in the door. And I have found I don't have the courage for that, or I just don't have enough interest, maybe. Like I don't value what could come of it enough, because I don't, and at this point, maybe it's I don't even want to be in that world. Like it just doesn't interest me to put so much into that and cultivate courage. However, as an exercise, like for my soul to experience, it's probably fucking awesome. That would probably do a lot of sort of karmic unweaving for me, as far as facing some fears about kind of being in places where I'm not welcome, or being in places where I'm taking advantage, or in any way like a burden, or like, asking too much of somebody. Which, in those situations, like these are busy people. I don't think they really have time for unscheduled appointments with people they don't know during the day. And so, it's like I immediately am thinking about all those things. So like, even if I could get onto the elevator and to go up to the 25th floor or whatever it is, in the elevator, I would just be like, oh my God, oh geez, is this even respectful at all to these people I'm about to try to talk to? Like, what are they going to do for me? What kind of impression is this? All these all these thoughts in my head, and they feel reasonable because I'm thinking about other people's experience of me, and if I'm bringing a sense of positivity, peace to their life. And am I bringing peace to somebody's life if I'm saying, hey, you need to give me an opportunity. I want this. You got to do it, or you're going to miss out. It's like, damn. It's a lot. And that it's a lot for me, I think, to do. I just feel like, it's a bit of like the bravery that's important for entrepreneurship, particularly in the age of like the DIY artist entrepreneur. It's like this fusion concept is, I imagine it's not new, but it does feel kind of fresh, or at least kind of fresh within this age and the technology that we have. And there are aspects of it that I take pride in, that I really appreciated and have appreciated doing, like being the sort of business contact or management contact for shows that I was playing and things like that. Like, I love representing myself in that respect and being professional and making sure I have, a sense of control and I'm on the right terms with people. So as far as being an artist, entrepreneur, whatever, like artistic, creative entrepreneur, like I think that definitely comes naturally to me, and it's something I like. But in terms of this sort of like, I don't know, like throwing paint at the wall, or like, just like going for it with everything you have in a kind of, I guess, really vulnerable way. In many ways, it's just very vulnerable. I'm not as apt, like, I don't necessarily feel like I have the aptitude for that type of, like, I love being professional and that kind of thing. But I think that some of the things that entrepreneurs are encouraged to do don't feel like they fit with my puzzle piece. It feels a little bit disingenuous sometimes to me. Not what entrepreneurs say, but for me to do what successful entrepreneurs, I guess, talk about is important. I think some of it feels disingenuous for me to do. I feel like I'm not really being true to myself. And it's an interesting balance, because it's like, where's the line? Because having bravery and courage to go after what you want is important. So if that's the case, then it really is more about having a balance and towing the line between what feels true to myself and what feels natural and intuitive, and what, is an opportunity for me to have some bravery and courage to do what I want to do. And maybe to do what I want to do that does feel intuitively right and does feel like it's what I want to do, and it just requires a bit of courage. I think that's a different story. I think something, for example, like, I'm really interested in being involved in DAOs. Like, I was involved in Song Camp and now Electra, and if you've probably seen me retweet stuff like that or whatever from them. And I want to get involved in more DAOs because and more opportunities within Web3 as an artist to like make a living, contribute, be part of a community, like experience things collectively. It's very cool, and it's very fun, and it feels good. But it does require a little bit of courage, because it means introducing myself to people that I've never met before online, joining calls, speaking up, saying hi. Even in the groups that I'm already in, like it can be tough sometimes to speak up and have the courage to really put myself out there. And so, you do what you can when you can, and you do the best you can. So yeah, I think that's my answer for that question. All right, let's do a life lessons question. I hope this isn't another one I've gotten before. All right. Ha. This is good. All right. It says, and I like this because it makes me think about, like, what would I do as a parent, All right. As a child, what rules were made to be broken? As a child, what rules were made to be broken? Oh, man. I think staying up late was a rule made to be broken. it has its brokenness in saying don't stay up late. It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen if I stay up late? It's like every time that's said, that's going to happen. Don't stay up all night. It's like you just wonder what's going to happen if I stay up all night. I mean, it's just so silly, some of the rules. And not to say my parents are silly, or I mean, we're all silly, but it's just more like they're going to say it because they're responsible. They're being responsible, but I hope they can recognize, and I'll certainly recognize when I, one day I'm telling my child, hopefully, to go to sleep by a certain time, or it's like you should really get some sleep. I think you'll appreciate it tomorrow. In their head they're gonna be like, yeah, but I want to experiment with not getting enough sleep. What happens then? And obviously it may not be said consciously, but it's like within the subconscious, like you just wonder about that possibility. What would happen if I stayed up all night playing the Pokemon or something, or this race car game, or whatever, or watching a movie or whatever. And you just wonder about that kind of thing. And I think dessert is also a rule made to be broken, as far as like maybe like no dessert before dinner. It's like eventually one day it's going to be broken. And even if it's not broken when I'm 6 years old and don't have access to it because I, can't reach it, or I mean, I could probably reach it, but whatever, where I can't break the rule, I'm going to break it as an adult, because I'm just wondering, I'm like, what is it like to eat ice cream and then go eat the dinner, things like that. When it's like, when you're really a child and you're going through kind of the rules of the road, so to speak, with this whole life thing. And you're like, this feels dumb. I want this now, or this way. And it just makes you wonder. I think, well, let's see, what else? I mean, I think things like that. Drugs. I think not doing drugs is a rule that's made to be broken for sure. I don't. I mean, it's the same thing as staying up late. It's like, why? I mean, you might be able to scare some children, and I was certainly scared for a long time out of certain drugs or certain things, but eventually, certain substances, whether you're, are curious about drinking in high school, or like I was, or smoking weed, or trying a psychedelic or whatever, like there's so many ways to try these things that are certainly not as harmful as plenty of other stuff that we put into our bodies and do to ourselves. So, and I'd not to say we shouldn't do those things either. I think we, do what you want with your body, just try to love yourself. But, we're here to experience. So I do believe in experimentation when you're sort of responsible about it and you're safe. But, like, it's just like, like I said, it's a rule that maybe is established when I'm 5. And then when I'm 25, I'm like, what would this be like? And then I'm like, and I have the sort of the capacities to know how I want it to be, so that I feel safe, so that I feel like I'm being responsible with what I'm doing, that I'm not putting myself into danger, things like that. And maybe that's why the rules are there, but the rules are still made to be broken. It's just a matter of learning what you need to learn so that you can break these rules, and then you can do whatever you want, basically. So, and I mean, I guess I just described adulthood, but it's with anything and everything. Rules are often made to be broken, or the broke quality of the rule is in the rule, and if it wasn't, it wouldn't be a rule. If the possibility and even expectation of rule being broken was not like necessarily linked and connected and sort of like intertwined with what it is to make a rule, then you wouldn't have the rule, because there would be no need for the rule. Rules only come about because we break them, or they come about, then we break them, or we do something we don't like and then we make the rule. So you can't have one without the other. So in some ways, I guess all rules are made to be broken. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, that was the third question. This is nice. I really like doing these questions. It's pretty fun. And I hope that like it gives you a chance to sort of think about what your like answers would be and stuff like that. All right. Well, if you want to catch up with me, still streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays, usually around 9 p.m. Eastern time. Maybe I'll go earlier, maybe a little later. But Tuesday, Thursday nights, for the most part, I'm streaming unless I say otherwise. And right now, I just got Pokemon Brilliant Diamond on the Switch for Christmas for my siblings. So I just started the game. I have one badge, and I'm working on the game. So if you want to come hang out, show me your music. Maybe if you're making music or you're making something cool, show me your stuff, and I'll check it out while we're streaming the game. So, and maybe you can help me make decisions within the game as far as what Pokemon to have. I think I have 3 Pokemon right now. I think I have the first form of Luxray. I forget Luxio. No, Luxio is the second. I have a Turtwig, and I have one other Pokemon. I forget though. Yeah. So come check out the stream Tuesday, Thursday nights. And if you want to support me more directly, you can do so on Patreon at patreon.com/JackInTheWay. And of course, with the NFTs coming soon. And I'm really excited for that. So stay tuned for that. Cool. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon. If I get the chance, I will probably do another bonus cast this week. I like doing this bonus cast where it's just Patreon exclusive, but it's like I'll answer 1 or maybe 2 more questions, and then say whatever else is on my mind once a week at the end of the week. But till next time, love you. Thanks so much for listening. Here's to remembering who we are. Peace.